Hi, and welcome back to another AI in 5. I'm your host, Simon Chris, and joining me today is another Simon Reiter. Now, Simon's the Chief Technology Officer at Care Super, and we're going to be talking about the role that engineers and developers will play in the new land of AI. Hey, Simon, welcome to AI in 5. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for having me on the show.
This is the Simon Show today. We're gonna jump right in. I saw a post that you did, and it really excited me about the future of engineering and all that sort of stuff. But there's kind of a cute backstory as to how this came about. Share that with us.
Right, yeah, absolutely. For that post was all about the power of your engineering communities in your workforce. Something I care deeply about, having strong and good engineering capability, ways of communicating, building that natural community. We all work in isolation sometimes in our own engineering minds, and getting everyone together sounds crazy in the same company, but it's actually invaluable to get them to work more efficiently. All came about, if you go back a bit to the key stories, is my two kids who are 6 and 9. Needed a bit of a routine chart, so we're looking at how we could actually do that, right? After dinner, go brush your teeth, have a bath, that kind of stuff. Right. I looked at the toy shop. They have a few of those felt ones you stick up, and there's a few ones that came up. You kind of stick some. But I'm like, I don't think they weren't that great because they're in one spot. We've got a 2-story house. Do I buy 2? It gets a bit more messy. So I could probably build something. I thought let me try building something. So
right on.
I spun up Claude code. I pulled together a bit of I had a good concept what I wanted to do. Built the first prototype in about an hour and a half.
Oh.
I published that on my just a HTML file with JavaScript behind it and a Python script to track when the kids make the changes and tick tasks off. Posted it on my Mac Mini because it's always on. Access it from any device across the house, synchronizes up. Found out pretty quick that the kids gamified it. I initially had scores in there, so who when they cleared the task, they got points. Then the kids got really competitive at who had the most points, and they started arguing about. So then I had to change the points to stars.
Of course.
And then I found out that if the kids were ticking and unticking tasks repeatedly, get more and more stars. So I had to change that again. So you can only tick your task once in 24 hours. So it's great. It's just a great. If any company wants penetration or security testers, you should bring a bunch of 6 and 9-year-olds.
Bring a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Does doing that though and churning something out so quick make you wonder what's the future for coders and engineers and people like that? And what do you think that future is? Is it as bleak as everyone makes out?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think absolutely it did raise a lot of mind. I thought, well, if I can do this, and look, I am not the most technical smart person in the room. Sure, I'm the CTO of a superannuation fund with 8-year-old people, but they're all smarter than me, right? That's but if I can do that and pull something together in that time frame, I go, what could a person who is deeply technical and has that strength do with the same tool? With all the knowledge they have, all the training they've had through university, all the experience they've had on the job, how fast could they work? So I started thinking, well, what would the 10x employee look like, or the 10x engineer? So if I had one engineer, I gave them this tool, I empowered them to use it in a way where I get 10 times of the engineer from the one engineer. If I did that, would that mean I get greater velocity? Would I reduce my sprint times? Would I reduce my error rate, reduce my testing, improve security? So I opened up all those different questions. I think if I was doing a whole bunch of vibe coding as they call it, I think it has its place. I don't think no one would waste time on a wireframe anymore. Like when I first started working in the workforce, we used to use overhead projectors and wireframes. Yep. No one does that anymore. Then we started getting a developer to sit with a BA and a product to go, can you make this screen for me? And we used to go through these poorly written diagrams. Now you use vibe code stuff up and go, I want this. And it speeds that whole process up to go build me that, right? So the engineer straight away knows that's exactly what you want. That's the way you want the screen to flow.
I see. So use it as a prelude. Okay. Yep.
That's it. And then I think, it goes back to what's the shift of the engineer? It kind of moves to more of they have to look at how they build their communication skills now, how they engage with business stakeholders, how they sit in with the owners of the platforms. You can't just hide behind your GitHub anymore. You're going to have to get out there and engage with the business owners, the stakeholders. And that's your power. That's the engineers who will be successful, I think, with the ones who are out there, we take all that great knowledge they've got, the tool of AI at their fingertips to help them become the 10x engineer, but also then that deep business knowledge. And we all know AI will never have deep business knowledge. They will never understand why you do a certain thing in the company. Why do you not do a certain thing? Technically, you could do that.
Yep.
But ethically, for whatever reason, your company decide we're not going to do that. And you employees know that, right? But AI would never know that. They don't have a sense of moral obligation, or AI agents don't have a sense of morals or a sense of ethics or a sense of a culture of belonging. They kind of just very black and white.
Yeah, wow.
So that's why I think
the thing that strikes me here is that I hear you talking about 10xing and, speeding up production and, producing more good stuff, but not one mention of dropping engineers out of the team, which is the popular choice. Look, anyway, we're at time, believe it or not. We're already through 5 minutes. I always love to ask everyone the same question. I'll put it to you. What would be your one bit of advice if an organization is just starting or they're early in their AI journey? What should they be doing or what should they be thinking about?
I think, for me, it's get your governance right early. I mean, it's very hard to put your governance in later on. It's one of the things you can just jump straight past and get excited and start building stuff in AI. But how you retrospectively apply governance to that. And I always say, if you look at the ASIC and APRA letters, even if you're not regulated by those two entities, their advice in those letters, which are very publicly available on their website, so they're not. It's actually quite sound approach, right? Who owns that AI agent? When do you last assess it? What use case is it using? How much is it costing you? What's it saving? Do you know what it's actually doing? Do you know what it should be doing? Like, do you do regular reviews of these agents? These are all things you should be doing with any type of AI tool in your organization. So I think
that's great advice, particularly in the land of, the third agent down gives the first agent permission to delete something from the database or something, that all that kind of stuff.
That's it, 100%.
Look, it's been great having you a part as AI in 5. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it.